So have you been discriminated because you're a foreigner?
Yeah, I feel like there is a bit of racism out here. They don't exactly accept African Americans. So
Right.
yeah, I notice when I go in stores and stuff, I'm followed around like real close and stuff. And I notice they don't do that for other people. So yeah, I am treated differently than other people. I mean, they're nice people, don't get me wrong,
Right.
but you'll see it sometimes.
Right.
I'm sorry for interrupting your scrolling, but I need y'all to stop for like 5 minutes and watch this video with me. Now, what's pissing me off so much with this kind of video is that nowhere in the video or caption does it state which Japanese party actually made this video. And it's not the first time that I see fake news like this on social media. But I feel like nowadays people on social media are so focused on trying to increase the tension between Japan and foreigners. Like, they are creating so many rumors and so many people are believing it. Most of the people hating on foreigners living in Japan are people who don't even live here. And even though, yeah, the current government doesn't really like foreigners, and even though they have said some pretty outrageous things about foreigners, they have not yet gone out of their way to make this kind of video. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump had posted something like this. But this video is literally fan-made. It is made by some random person living in their mama's basement. And the worst part is that everybody's believing it. And instead of saying how outrageous this video is, people are actually trying to back up the creator of the video, saying things like, no, this is exactly what it is. This is the current reality of Japan. If Japan doesn't do anything now, they're gonna just be filled with immigrants and they're just gonna have Indians and Africans taking over with their big families. But let me be the first to tell y'all that they are really making it seem worse than it actually is. Also, people are saying that immigrants are taking over Japan, but I beg to differ, and it is not a immigration issue, but it is a over-tourism issue, and it's not even an over-tourism of Japan issue. It's really an over-tourism of these saturated hotspots like Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka, but that's a conversation for another time.
Guys, did I get bullied in Japan? Alright, so here's a story about how my Japanese classmate tried to socially isolate me from the rest of the class when I studied abroad in Saitama, Japan. Hi guys, my name is Renee. I've been speaking Japanese for over 10 years and I studied abroad in Japan twice. Follow me if you like anime, learn Japanese, and more. But I went to Japan in high school in 2017 to 2018. So your girl was excited. It was my first time going to Japan, so I was just hoping for the best. Skipping all the fluff, but on the first day, it was pretty good vibes. I had introduced myself to this class, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, her Japanese seems good. So during the downtime of my first day, I had these two girls come up to me. We'll name one girl Haru and the other one Ray. Haru and Ray were really good. They were really sweet to me. They were really nice, and it was really fun. They kind of just asked me about my background and everything. Like, everything was chill vibes. We sat together during lunch, and it was cool. At this point, I was studying Japanese for like 4 years at this point. So it was okay, but, you know, it wasn't like to a conversational level. This is my first time being immersed in a traditional Japanese environment. So there was a bit of language barrier. So I would say for the first like week and a half, 2 weeks, everything was chill. I was sitting with them. They would walk me to other classrooms. Obviously, I couldn't be like invested in the conversations and like, you know, talk. But I did listen and I did interact. But I guess it all changed when Haru just didn't want to talk to me anymore. I don't know what went through that girl's brain, but she was done. Ray was honestly the sweetest of the two, but she was kind of going along with like Haru's whims, I guess. Haru would like go over to Ray and like keep her from me or stuff like that. And when lunchtime came around, they would either just disappear or like just stay to themselves and they just wouldn't include me anymore. And y'all, I'm very observant. I'm very socially aware. So to me, I'm like, what the heck? Like, I felt the difference. There was this one time where we were going to PE and we were out on the baseball field. It was like, I guess we were doing a month on the baseball field or something. And this is like my first PE class ever. And so we have to split up into different groups. Tell me why Haru looks at me takes Ray's hand and drags her away to another group. And we did PE with another class, so I just got into a group with like people I just didn't know. And I was just like, what the heck? It was just like very obvious. And honestly, I was just like, what is going on? And at this point, I wasn't really confident enough to go to people and say like, hey, can we like go to, class together or whatever? Like I did have people here and there, like I would talk to like on occasion, but like that close, like Hada and Ray were like, they like love bombed me. And then just totally isolated me. So yeah. If you guys want to hear about how I dealt with everything after, just let me know for a part 2.
I wish a lot of immigrants would literally watch this video, honestly, especially immigrants in America, because you see a lot of immigrants complain that Black Americans have been racist towards them. And a lot of time I've been able to ask myself, like, why will Black Americans be racist towards you? Why do you think Black Americans can be racist instead of the white folks that literally can be racist? And the truth is, every single race can be racist except for Black Americans. That's what a lot of people do not understand. But anyways, these are the experience of Black Americans living in Japan, sharing every single thing that they are literally passing through, either positively or negatively in Japan. And I feel like Black Americans get more of this, not only in Japan, but in other countries as well. Just because they are the blueprints as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to be saying just because they are bad people. Black Americans are not bad people. Just that a lot of people do not understand the part where they are coming from. I've literally stitched a video here as well where you see what some Ghanaians or African country, let me not call a specific country, let's not be like I'm being biased. Where some Ghanaians where some African countries are treating Black Americans awfully. But anyways, if you are watching this video and you live in Japan, let us know your own experience as well in the comment section. Really love to share with us. Really love to do a video and send to us. Let me know as well in the comment section, because this is just for educational purposes, not to come here bash anyone or look down on anybody. Hi, my name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. With that being said, let's continue, and I'll be back with commentaries.
A lot of y'all have experienced racism, but most of y'all haven't experienced level 9
Okay, go check out that other video if you haven't already, but I totally agree. Racism comes in a lot of different faults. Level 9 racism is something I've seen pretty often traveling around the world. Saw it a lot in Paris and just in Europe in general. But in Asia, and today marking a year since I've been to Japan when I first arrived, they have a polite racism, It's like a different energy to it. It's a different way to, to annoy you, to really come at under your skin. It's a psychological racism because nobody is treating you like they really want to treat you. Or that's what I thought. Because when I interacted with people, it always seemed like they never said what was on their mind. They always had this mask on, and it's a mask of like non-emotion. It's like, all right, we're going to interact you in a polite way, but I don't really mess with you like that. But I know that you're a foreigner and you're here on maybe tourist reasons or whatever. So they'll help you. But some people, if they really don't like you, they will pretend like, they can't speak any English. And sometimes they can. But since I spoke some Japanese, I'd ask in Japanese and they'd be like, oh, really? You speak Japanese? Why do you speak Japanese? Why? And they would have to help you, and they'd be obligated to help you. So they would help you, not really wanting to help you. And then if they didn't really know the answer, they would try to dump you off at someone else, and that person would have to help you. And that person could actually generally want to help you, or they could not want to help you either. So it would be like a game of passing you along to somebody until you got your answer solved, so the other person could be relieved of their duty of helping the foreigner. And this is just one example of stealthy racism, of like getting out of situations. I think another one was just generally like on the subway system, you just sit down and you just have like gaijin powers, which is like foreigner in Japanese. When you sit down next to a Japanese person, they immediately get up. They're like, nah. And this happens sometimes to white foreigners, but I think it's pretty often for black foreigners, where they just like, no, we're not messing with that. We're going to get up. And I saw this a lot in convenience stores. I would just walk in to just an aisle the person would immediately dart out. I'm like, and getting some seaweed or whatever. I dip out. I look back. They immediately come back in saying like, oh, thank the Lord, he's gone. And I'm just like, all right, stealthy. It's stealthy. Another common occurrence is them asking you, when are you leaving? And this is code for, why are you here? And when are you going to leave? Because you shouldn't be here. You don't fit the mode. This is a homogenous country. You're breaking the cohesion. So I got that a lot, usually from the older generation, or from the younger generation. I got people that look exactly like me. Had my dread, had my braids, had the entire aesthetic, looking like they're from the East Coast, from Chicago or something. I remember I posted on this video on my page of like this dude throwing up GD, which is like a gang sign, and I was just like, this is real weird, because I was the only black person in that club, or typically black person in that club, and everyone was just like, it's the guy, it's the representative of black people here, and they just appropriating black culture. They got J-rap going on, they got dreadlocks fully out, they got the entire aesthetic on, and everyone just trying to interact with me like, can you rap? Can you freestyle? Can you dance? And like when I confirm any of their bias, they're like, wow, it's just like on the TV. He's really that guy. They really do those things. We're doing it to a T. It's pretty strange. But it comes from an ignorance, but it's also like a racism that's just like, we are people, we're individuals that exist in not these predetermined 2D figures that you see on TV. Like we exist, we do things outside of what you see in social media and stuff, but they don't really see that. It was a strange occurrence. But one thing I was safe, I was chill. But yeah, racism in Japan was strange. It was a very strange place to be for 3 months, but I got through it. I'll talk about it more in the future.
So y'all want to know what it's like being a black woman living in Japan. And I'm here to answer your questions. First of all, know that I am fully black. A lot of people think that I'm half Japanese. Even half Japanese black people think that I'm half Japanese. I'm not. I'm fully black from America. Please ignore my appearance. I usually look better than this. I know I'm not a great representation for black women right now, but hey, we're here. I live in the countryside of the Chiba prefecture, so it is all natives who do not speak English. Within my specific city, there's not many other American foreigners. There's a lot of Indians and Thai people. But within the surrounding cities, there are maybe a dozen foreigners, and if they are American, they're all white for the most part. But I get along really well with them, and everyone in town treats me really kindly, even though my Japanese is super duper bad. I mean, I never even heard it before I landed here, so you get what you get a little bit, but I'm doing my best. I've never been treated rudely by anyone in town. That said, I travel on most weekends, actually. Sometimes to Tokyo, which is basically all foreigners, and I rarely run into rude instances there as well, because people are doing a job to give you a service, right? So they're not going to just be randomly disrespectful. People on the streets are typically used to seeing foreigners, so it's really not that big of a deal in my experience. In the 8 months that I've lived here, I've had maybe 4 weird experiences that have happened because I am black. Or less because I'm black, more because I'm foreign, and I'm gonna read those down to you really quick. Once when I was at a shopping street called Ameyoko outside of Ueno Park, I saw some trash on the ground and I tried to add it to a previously closed trash bag, and 5 old ladies came out of nowhere screaming at me, thinking that I was just like, that I was the one who littered. And I'm like, no lady, I did not litter, I'm just trying to help. But I didn't know Japanese to tell her that, so she thought that I was just being problematic. I understand, moving on, like what can you do? Another time it was super late on the train from Tokyo back to my town that I stay in, and this very drunk salaryman was kind of trying to touch my hair from very far away. He was just kind of like reaching out, faking that he was stroking it because I just got my braids done, and he was like obsessed. But he was also super, super drunk, could barely stay awake. I'm also not the most mad at that. I never felt unsafe by it. It was just like, dude, calm down. He kept telling me how pretty I was in Japanese and all this other stuff, but it was fine. News stories though, if you've already heard those before, these both happened maybe a month or 2 ago when I was traveling around Tokyo with a black man. In one instance, we went to go sit on a train and there was a Japanese lady who had already been sitting on the bench. Before our butts could even hit the seat, she was up and out of there, like a completely different car altogether. She did not want to be anywhere near us. She looked absolutely disgusted. So that was the first time I experienced something called a gaijin seat, which means that Japanese people will go out of their way to avoid you because you are sitting somewhere on the train. In my opinion, it's a lot less common than people talk about online. Online, I feel like people act like it happens every time you sit on the train. Realistically, people just want to sit down. They've had a long day, they're busy, they don't really pay that much attention to other people on trains. It took 7 months of me living here to even experience it for the first time. So maybe the experience is different for Black men or something like that, but that was the first time I experienced it. Personally, I actually just laughed when it happened because I'm like, wow, lady, you are afraid of the wrong things. Later that same day, I was on the way back to the countryside by myself, and it was booth type seating. If I can find a picture, I'll include it here. But the booths are kind of tight in the way that you sit down on this train. When I sat across from this other lady in the booth, she was clearly disturbed. She kind of turned her knees and looked out the window in a way that was like, oh my gosh, why is this girl sitting so close to me? But there was no other like empty booths, so I had to do what I had to do. It was a little bit like awkward, but I mean, that's her problem, not mine. By and large, I haven't had any issues living in Japan as a Black woman. I found my apartment, because I know that question's coming, I found my apartment through my job, so I didn't have to really do any extra work or anything like that. I think it's more significant that you are a foreigner or that you don't speak Japanese rather than the color of your skin, but that's a personal opinion. If you have any thoughts about racism, please let me know in the comments. Racism is a terrible thing that doesn't need to happen anymore, but unfortunately, it does still happen everywhere. So stay safe, all love, see you next time, bye!
I've been getting a lot of negative feedback in regards to my most recent videos about my experiences in Japan. And those reactions have been ranging from why do I care to excusing the behavior that I've been receiving from people in Japan to I just outright deserve the bad behavior and the negativity that I've been receiving. And I just thought that I would address that right now. First, let's go to the why do I care scenario. I care because the energy in Japan has been changing, mostly due to the fact that there's this political group in power now called Sanseito, or Japan First, which is basically the equivalent of Make America Great Again. And not to say that racism and negativity didn't exist before that happened, but now it's more overt. Whereas before, if there were people who shared that sentiment of foreigners don't belong here, especially when it comes to the service industry. They were going to serve you. They were still going to show omotenashi, which is basically where it's almost like obligatory politeness because it's their job, you know? Whereas now, you can go to a restaurant, you can go to a grocery store, you can go to a place of business, and if you run into those Make Japan Great Again people now, a lot of them won't, and it's becoming more and more common. So that's why I care. Yeah, sure, there is racism everywhere, no matter where you go. However, it's a bit different when you're a foreigner living in a foreign country, because if this sentiment continues to grow, and let's use America as an example, they could start just doing, wrongful mass deportations. Even if you have legal paperwork and stuff like that, they might start doing what they've been doing in America here. I didn't say it in the video, especially because maybe when I made those videos, I didn't exactly realize why that was happening. I just noticed the shift. It's not to say that I haven't experienced discrimination before and that it hasn't existed, but gradually it's just gotten worse and worse, especially because during COVID, they shut the borders down so nobody could come and visit, right? As soon as the borders open back up, gradually we've been getting more and more and more and more and more tourists. And I think because of that influx of tourists, Japan is mad about it because not everybody knows the culture. And I think maybe a lot of people have been disrespecting their culture, so to speak. They want to preserve their culture. And I understand that. That's what they've done all this time. So they're like, why change it now? It's just really harmful because at the same time, they need foreigners in their country in order to help boost their economy. Yet they're treating the people who are boosting their economy
like dog shit. There's so much more to it than what I'm saying now. Nobody deserves to be treated that way. And just because it happens everywhere doesn't make it right. I'm really only making this content because I want people to get an accurate representation of what it's like being a foreigner in Japan, especially from a Black woman's perspective like myself. I get questions all the time. My inbox is flooded with questions like, what's it like living in Japan? Do you like living in Japan as a foreigner, as a Black woman? Are you treated well in Japan? Like, I get questions like that all the time. So I'm just trying to answer those questions. I'm tired of seeing the searches for life in Japan as a foreigner be flooded with touristy perspectives, because being a tourist in a country and actually being a resident in a country are two different things. If you really want to live in Japan, just know that it's not going to be easy and there are going to be hardships, and that Japan is not some utopia that is going to save you from the hardships of your home country. That's all. Have a nice day. Bye.
All right, so I am not the kind of person to just like get on the internet crying, but I am currently in Japan, doing a viticulture and enology fellowship. I came with the 280 project to learn about wine growing and winemaking in Japan. And I really wanted to come because Japan faces a lot of challenges in wine growing, and I wanted to learn about how they're mitigating their challenges and things that they're doing differently than the traditional, Napa or France way of wine growing and winemaking. And I was just talking on Facebook a little bit about my experience, and someone mentioned that they had heard that Japanese people have a habit of a bad habit of staring at Black people in Japan. And he asked me about my experience with that, and I was basically today writing a little update about how it is true in certain places, like really rural areas with very elderly populations. You might get like a very long look, or like a toddler might gasp because they've never seen a Black person in real life before. But for the most part, nobody cares. Nobody pays me any, never mind. I'm just another person in a store, on the train, at the mall, on the street. And I realized that is the first time that I have experienced that. This is my first international, it's my first time off North America, out of North America. And so I have really only experienced, that part of the West's culture and navigating that. But here I have experienced for the first time not being a Black person. I mean, I'm obviously a Black person. I stick out, like I am the Oreo in the vanilla wafer box, but it doesn't mean the same thing. It just means that I'm different, it doesn't come with the same weight as it does in America. Nobody is watching me while I'm in the store to make sure I'm not stealing. Nobody is afraid to sit next to me on the train. No one and no one thinks that I'm doing something I'm not supposed to be doing, or that I'm in an area that I'm not supposed to be in. I'm just a person walking down the street, getting something from the convenience store, shopping for bags. I miss my children. I miss my husband so much. But I am not looking forward to going back to America at all. I do not want to deal with that shit anymore. It's so hard. It's so heavy. It's so unfortunate. I wanted so, so, so badly to come here and learn about these grapes so I could take this information and do my thing in my country. But not anymore. Fuck that place. It's funny, America is supposed to be the land of the free. And I experienced a lot of privilege there. I experienced so much privilege, and it's still so fucking hard and painful all the time. And I really don't want my children to have to grow up there. It's so sad. I did not think that this trip was going to... I knew that this trip was going to be illuminating. There are illuminations all over the country. But I did not know. I didn't realize. I didn't realize what I would learn and what I would feel being here.
Who else has received a racist gift before? Because I have received a racist gift before in this country, and that was 2 years ago. So I went out for lunch today, and I met with my friend, and we were just talking. And she told me about her friend who, traveled maybe to America or somewhere and got back and got her a gift. Okay, so when she went there to see her friend, and her friend presented the gift, and the gift was opened, and her friend apologized and said, you know what, she was craving for, okay, she got a snack. And her friend was like, you know what, when she got the snack, she was kind of craving for that snack, so she had to open it to take like one or two packs from it, that she shouldn't be angry, and so she gave her like leftovers, stuff like that. So my friend was appalled, and so we got talking about gifts and stuff like that, and that took me back to 2 years ago. So I just joined this company, and it was Christmas. I had worked there for like 6 months. So the 6th month was December. We were having this Christmas party, Christmas dinner. So before the dinner, we had Secret Santa. So you choose someone and you buy them a gift. And the gift must not be less than 1,000 yen. Well, it's not a must, but at least 1,000 yen, something decent. So I picked someone. I got a very good gift for the person I picked. And on the day of the dinner, I went to, of course, the restaurant. It was a restaurant. We went there. When we got to the restaurant and it was time to do the unveiling or unboxing of your gifts, my manager distributed the gifts. And when you get your gift, you unwrap it and guess who gave it to you. Okay, so when she was distributing, everyone was getting nice packaging and everything. Even the guy I got a gift for was so excited when he got his gift and stuff like that. When it got to my turn, Guess what? I got a small box, like a ring box size, you know, this ring box, the size of a ring box, wrapped with a dirty cloth. Hell. Anyways, I was so shocked. I could even see the shock on my manager's face. Everyone was getting something cute, but when it got to me, that was my gift. And okay, it got to everyone's turn. They were all unboxing their gifts and, you know, guessing who got it for them. Sometimes they guessed wrong. So it was fun. When it got to my turn, I opened it. It was what? Incense. The lady who got it for me said she noticed I love perfumes. I always wear perfumes. I love fragrances. So she decided to gift me that gift. That is an old gift from her house. Maybe she got it years ago, or someone gifted her the gift or something, or so I don't know. I don't know where she got that gift from, and she decided to get rid of it. And instead of trashing it, she decided to give it to me. And you know what made it worse was the packaging. It was wrapped in a dirty handkerchief. And she was like, I could use the incense to, you know, since I love fragrances, I could just use it to make my house smell nice. And I can also use the dirty rag, the handkerchief. I can use it to wipe my shoes or something, you know. Whew. I was so embarrassed to receive that kind of a gift. But because it was an office, you know, dinner, I just had to just ignore. In my mind, I was like, what do you take me for? I'm very careful when I'm gifting someone something, because I feel when you give someone something, or the gift you give to someone is a representation of who you are. The gift you give to someone also shows how much you respect them. So it was so embarrassing that everyone was getting cute gifts. When it came to me, I got rags. Like, I'm not even lying. I wish I took a picture. I couldn't even take a picture, because I usually take pictures of things like that, post it on my WhatsApp status and stuff like that. I couldn't do that. It was so embarrassing. Like, I was like, she couldn't. I was like, she's not Japanese. Okay, by the way, I don't even think a Japanese person will do that. She's not Japanese. And I don't want to say where she's from. She's not African, but she's not Japanese. And I was like, if she had chosen, if she had picked someone else, maybe an American or a Canadian or a Japanese, I don't think she would gift them what she gave me. I felt disrespected. I felt she gave me that because she thought I'm African. So, of course, the bar is always very low. So she can give me anything. Zero effort. Like, zero effort, no effort at all. She just picked up something she was about to trash from her house, wrapped it in a piece of cloth that she was, maybe a rag in her house, I don't know, and gave it to me. That was very embarrassing. So when I got home, I just trashed it. I didn't even open it. Okay, I opened it there to see the sticks and everything, but after that, I trashed it. And I was so, it was just funny to me because I was so embarrassed. Everyone there, I'm sure they were all shocked and they were so embarrassed on her behalf. But because it's Japan, everyone has to pretend. We all have to pretend that everything is okay. We don't call people out. We don't confront them. If it were in my country, well, I wouldn't have said anything though. But I'm sure someone would have said something. Well, till date, no one talked about the gift. But I haven't forgotten.
Racism in Japan. People ask me all the time what it's like living in Japan as a Black person and if I've experienced any racism.
I haven't really experienced much. I mean, you get the occasional, double stares, but I think it's more so their lack of being exposed to people of color as far as like blatant racism or discrimination.
I feel like you're more discriminated against for being tall here than Black. Honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
My answer is similar. I haven't experienced any blatant racism here. I have experienced people staring and pointing, mostly little kids. Fine, could be that. It's mostly little kids though, to be honest, staring and pointing and kind of tapping their parents, probably to ask a question. And honestly, it's just ignorance. And I don't mean oh, these kids are ignorant in a negative way. I mean literal ignorance, they don't know. They've never seen it in person before and they're curious. And so I try to keep that in mind and not get offended. But I've never had anyone be anything but polite to me here.
Other countries, that's a story for another day. As far as,
I actually experienced racism in Israel for sure, but not here in Japan.
let's talk about racism and xenophobia in Japan. If y'all could share, follow, and engage, I'd be so grateful so I can keep transparently sharing my life here. I want to preface this by saying this is only my personal opinion and my personal experience based on the 6 months that I've lived here. I'm not invalidating anyone else's experiences that they've had, nor am I bashing Japan as a country. I really do enjoy my life here. So let's start with racism. Since I've been here, I haven't experienced any. For me, it's been like being Black is the same as being Asian or Mexican or anywhere else that's not Japanese native. So instead of me talking about what it's like being Black in Japan, I'm really going to focus on being a foreigner in Japan in general. And by and large, that's also been an awesome time. I find that workers often try to make accommodations for me by speaking English or finding me English instructions when they can. And when I'm occasionally confused about things, they tend to find it endearing rather than crazy. If anyone pays me a second glance, it's usually out of interest, like, whoa, there's a foreigner in town, because I live in the countryside. But that rarely happens, and if it does, it's never more than a split second. Children and old people tend to smile when I come by, and if I have my hair done, they tell me how pretty it is. Some of you may have heard of the gaijin seat, which is when people move away from you because you're foreign. I haven't experienced that either. As a matter of fact, people try not to sit next to anyone on the train. Imagine how weird it'd be if the train was empty and then you intentionally sat next to someone. There's actually a name here in Japan for people who do that, sitting too close to other people. I don't know what the name is, but it's not a good thing in general. But if people are sitting next to each other, people often sit next to me. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's not a big deal. On the flip side of that, many people in Japan have talked about their struggles with not being accepted. For example, getting kicked out of restaurants, not being allowed to rent apartments, not being allowed to do many other things. And while I completely validate their experiences, I haven't seen it myself. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It is more challenging for foreigners to get apartments here, but I wouldn't know that experience because I got my apartment through my job like many other English teachers. I have also heard that if a crime is committed involving a foreigner, you are kind of going to be assumed to be at fault. I haven't seen any signs saying foreigners can't come. I haven't seen any English menus with higher prices. All that being said, I have had a couple negative experiences because I'm a foreigner. Once at a popular street market called Amayoko, a cup fell out of a Tide trash bag while workers were cleaning up. I picked it up to try to put it back in the trash bag, but the workers thought that I was adding into their already closed off trash. Since I can't speak Japanese to explain that that's not what was happening, they thought that I was being an annoying foreigner. Just fair. There definitely are more barriers for people who don't speak Japanese rather than barriers for people who are foreign in general. I had another incident where a crotchety old man thought that I was about to talk on the phone on the train because I did get a phone call, so he poked me hard on the arm and said, shh, as if I was going to start talking loudly. Meanwhile, there were a group of Japanese boys who were being kind of loud on the other side of the train. Either way, it was a one-off experience and I don't care so much. On the same day that happened, there was a super drunk salaryman on the train sitting across from me, and he kept trying to tell me how beautiful my braids were, and I was like, thanks. But then he was going on and being weird about it, so I moved to a different car. He wasn't chasing me or anything, I just didn't want to hear it. So that's been my experience as a Black woman in Japan. I try to share as much as I can on this page to give more visibility for people who look like me, and so other people can be mindful of others' experiences in this life. Hope that helps. Bye.
The truth is, racism is expensive, and in as much as a lot of people do not know about this, a lot of people still know about this and still continue to be racist. That's just the honest truth. And I feel like most of these countries that have white folks involved in it, there is no way you can literally go to those countries and then you will not be racist or racially profiled. Do you get? You can hear from those video that I actually stitched where you literally see one of my clips saying that getting followed in shops, blah blah blah. I was thinking that was literally happening in only America, right? But I came to realization that there are countries that are the most of these white countries are racist. That's just the honest truth. And I feel like most of these countries that are racist are also countries that literally do not want to hear the truth. That's just the honest truth. Now, let me digress a bit. I've seen someone drop a comment in my TikTok account where the person literally said, I was following you until you started saying Black Americans are the blueprint. And then I realized that what you were literally told by Black Americans is what you are working with. And for that reason, I feel like your research are not good enough, and then I have to unfollow you. on all of your social media platform. The only thing I replied to that person, I told the person, just go ahead and do that, please. Do it quickly before it is too late. Because I came to that understanding that a lot of people don't just want to hear the truth. A lot of people think maybe when you come on this platform to say one or two things, you're saying it out of anger or out of a place of jealousy or something. But how do you expect me to come here and lie to you what Black Americans are and what Black Americans are not? The truth is, Black Americans are the blueprint. We've seen a lot of countless video where the Japanese are also even waking up to reality and saying, oh, every single thing, we emulated it from Black Americans. So it's just that some persons will not own up to it. Back to what we are talking about, racism is expensive and racism is also in Japan. Yes, you can also see me stitch videos of people, Black Americans as well, that are literally talking about the good parts of being in Japan, how they have literally never experienced it. And I feel like that is just their opinion. The fact that you have not experienced it doesn't mean that it's not existing. Just like most of the videos I teach in when I'm doing my intimidation video and getting FAFO video, where you literally see some Black people say, why can't I just experience this so that I'm going to teach these people a lesson? But the main reason why I'm doing this video is because I want a situation whereby I'm going to be spraying good news and let love lead. Honestly, I feel like it doesn't pay bills, right? It doesn't pay bills to profile someone. It doesn't pay bills to mount or make someone feel uncomfortable. It doesn't pay bills to see another person less and see yourself high. It doesn't pay bills to see your other human as something that is not worth it and you are the only one. It doesn't at all. It doesn't. Why not we keep spreading good things? Why not we keep loving each other? And if you think you have a personal issues with Black Americans, why not walk up to them, talk to them, and let's resolve everything? Honestly, this is just what it typically looks like when you are in Japan, when you stay in Japan, when you live in Japan. So it is even very important. Anybody that is asking you that I want to go to Japan, please share this video for them. Let them see the ugly, the bad, the good side of Dubai. I said Dubai, of Japan. Sorry, guys, of Japan, before moving there. Because I feel like one of the things that is killing a lot of people is because some of these informations were not circulated enough. And the moment they move into Japan and they start seeing it, it becomes a whole lot of problem as well. But anyways, let me know. Like I said, do you live in Japan? Are you planning on relocating to Japan? Have you experienced any of this racism, highly racial profile in Japan, east, west, north, and south? Or have you been experiencing the good part of Japan? Please let us know in the comment section and advise people in the comment section if they want to move to Japan, the location they should move to, the place you think is better, the place you think you have stayed, that at the end of the day it is actually more profiting for you. Please let us know in the comment section. Would you love to share your story as well with us? Let us know as well in the comment section so that we'll give you a platform to also share your story. Anyways, if you've not subscribed, subscribe, like, comment, and share. And credit belongs to original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in this episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I really do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best, and thank you so much for staying stick and hook with me to the end of this video. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.